Here's 5 things I think you should know about Robotech Attack on the SDF1. Robotech Attack on the SDF1 from Japanime Games is a cooperative game for 1 to 5 players. You take control of a ship, the SDF1, and complete missions relating to its survival against an alien enemy force. You win by completing the missions, and your victories will often carry over into further missions, making it a sort of legacy style game. Mechanically speaking, this is an action point selection game. Each player takes control of a member of the crew, and you combine your abilities together to do a variety of things, such as repair the ship, launch fighters, shoot down enemy ships, fire the guns, and of course, turn the ship into a giant robot. The enemy also gets to fight back too, so you spend most of your turns either preparing for this or for fending off enemy attacks. There are 5 missions in the box as a whole, but there's also an endless mode in which you can just see how long you can last against enemy ships. Okay, so similar games to Attack on the SDF1. Has to be Battlestar Galactica, folks. Oh my god, it feels just like it. And while Attack on the SDF1 at least has these specific missions to play with, it still carries with it that tragic vibe of how injured is the ship, how far can we make it. It's definitely the kind of game that has you on the edge of your seat. Setup is reasonable considering that this is quite a big game, and the rulebook is large but thorough. It did manage to answer every question we had, but it would often take a little bit of time to find it just because the rulebook itself is so large. For 2 players it took 2 hours, for 3 players it took 3, so we're estimating at about an hour per player, but I do think that really could be sped up depending on which group you were playing with and how long it would take you as a group to make decisions. Replayability wise, I'm not sure you'd want to replay the missions. Maybe you might if you like to hear the story again. However, the addition of this kind of endless wave mode is the one I think that you'd go to again and again to have repeat plays of this game. Aesthetically speaking, this game remains loyal to the original anime TV series Robotech, but it still looks really slick and quite interesting. The component quality is pretty much off the charts, and I as a consumer felt incredibly considered when I opened up and got to examine everything that was in the box. So what's so special about Robotech Attack on the SDF1? Well, I'd be lying if I didn't say it was the fact you could turn your ship into a giant robot. Okay, so how do I really feel about Robotech Attack on the SDF1? Firstly, the negatives. The missions, while interesting, do actually follow exactly episode for episode the first couple of the TV show. So if you already were familiar with this, you're either going to enjoy the fact that you're treading through familiar territory, or you're going to wish that they'd gone or done something else with the franchise. Me, as someone who'd only seen the first 2 episodes, thought it was kind of an interesting setup to explain to people, you know, the world that the game is set in. However, I wish there were either more missions or more ways to interact with this really cool world and setting we've been given. 5 missions just isn't enough for that, and then the endless wave mode, while cool, doesn't further the story or the world we've been given. Okay, so the positives. This is a really exciting game. From the minute I opened it out of the box to getting it onto the table and to finally getting to play it, I was kind of on the edge of my seat. There's something always going on and something always to be concerned about. You know, is the ship repaired enough that we can fire the cannon? What happens if there's another attack in Sector A3? What's going to happen when we flip over the enemy cards? You're constantly, you know, in tension with the game, and it's been a long time since I felt that invested or even just that elated or distraught over things that happened in a game. It's a really interesting and engaging experience. Now, the fact that you do this with your friends makes it all the more interesting, right? Because it's a challenge working things out with a group of people, but a very rewarding one. You lose together or you win together, and that also adds to the kind of the experience that you have here, because you're a crew on a ship and you're a crew with your friends, and combining that together I think makes for something kind of pretty magical actually. Finally, I have to admit that playing the missions in this game made me very much want to watch the Robotech TV show. Maybe that was their ploy all along. But regardless, this is a really interesting world with interesting characters and a kick-ass ship. Oh, and not to mention the aliens are kind of cool as well. As a whole, you'll find that the SDF1 is a ship that you really want to defend. Do I think you should have Robotech attack on the SDF1 in your collection? Well, if you like Robotech, I think you should probably pick this up. But even if you don't know anything about Robotech, you've never heard of it before, this is still a fantastic cooperative game that keeps you on the edge of your seats. I like the fact that missions have this mini legacy aspect to them, and then there's a whole other version of it you get to play at the end. So I think if you want something exciting, engaging, space-based, where you get to shoot things and turn your ship into a robot, then I think you should totally check this out. You've been watching Board Game Inquisition. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe you could do the like, subscribe, follow along thing that internet people like myself love. Or if you've got any comments or queries you'd like to make about Robotech attack on the SDF1, I'd really like to hear from you. And until next time, I'll be here playing games, asking questions, and as always, perusing my ever-growing collection. Take care. Bye bye.